You've done the work, the therapy, the journaling, the nervous system work. You've read the books. You've been in therapy, maybe for years. You understand your patterns. You know where they came from. You've done the inner child work, the shadow work, the nervous system work. You've journaled until your hand hurt. You've meditated and you've tried to set boundaries. And somehow you still feel exhausted. Not as exhausted, maybe. You've made progress. You know that. But there's this layer, this persistent, frustrating layer of depletion that doesn't seem to move no matter what you do. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a question has started forming that you might feel a little ashamed to admit. Is something wrong with me? Why isn't the work working? Well, I'm here to tell you that nothing is wrong with you, but something is wrong with the approach. Today, I'm going to walk you through 4 specific reasons why empaths who have genuinely been doing the work are still exhausted, and what actually needs to shift instead. Stay with me because I think this one is going to land a little bit differently. I'm Diane, and welcome to the resolution where empaths come to stop working so hard and start actually shifting. If you're new here, thank you and welcome. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you just don't miss what's coming up. And if something today lands with you, please like this video, drop a comment, share it with someone who needs to hear this, or save it. It really does help us new channels to grow and find all the empaths that need these words. So reason number 1. You're spending enormous energy healing what was never actually yours to begin with. Here's something most healing frameworks don't account for when it comes to empath specifically. From a very young age, your nervous system was absorbing not just your own experiences, but the emotional experiences of the people around you. Your parents' unresolved pain, the tension in your household, the grief, the fear, the shame that moved through your family system like weather that nobody named, but everyone lived in. And because you were a child, and because your system didn't know how to distinguish what was yours from what was simply in the air around you, you absorbed it, right? You stored it. And in many cases, you've been carrying it ever since. So when you go into the healing work, when you sit with a therapist or do somatic work or process the grief and the shame, whose grief and shame are you actually processing? Yeah, some of it is yours, genuinely yours. And that work is real and it's important. But some of it, maybe even a significant amount of it, belongs to someone else, to a lineage, to a family system, to a parent who never did their own work and whose emotional world lived in your body instead. You cannot heal your way out of someone else's wound. You can only recognize it, separate from it, and then put it down. That's not a healing process. That's a discernment process. And it's a completely different kind of work. Reason number 2. For many empaths, the healing process itself has become a new form of survival. I want to say that again because I know it might sting a little. The healing work, the journaling, the therapy, the courses, the constant self-examination can become its own loop. Its own way of staying busy enough not to have fully arrived in your life. Its own way of maintaining the identity of someone who is getting better rather than someone who has to actually live differently. And I say that with so much love. because I lived that loop for so many years, decades. And for empaths specifically, who were trained from childhood to be workers, to be fixers, to be people who take responsibility seriously, the healing journey can be just another version of that same pattern. Now I'm working hard at healing myself instead of working hard at taking care of everyone else. But the underlying pattern, the compulsion to work, to fix, to earn okayness through effort, is still running in the background. Real healing, and I mean the kind that actually changes how you live, not just how you understand yourself, requires something that is genuinely uncomfortable for most empaths. It requires stopping. I mean, not stopping forever, not abandoning growth, but stopping the relentless doing long enough for something to actually integrate. Long enough for your system to register that it's safe to be something other than someone who is constantly working on themselves. There's a difference between healing and integrating. And a lot of empaths are very good at the first one, but terrified of the second one. All right, so reason number 3. Most healing work addresses the story, but the exhaustion lives in the body. You can understand your patterns completely, intellectually, psychology, historically, and your nervous system will still run the old program. Because your nervous system doesn't speak the language of insight. It speaks the language of experience. Right? Think about it this way. You know intellectually that you don't have to fix everyone else's moods. You understand where that pattern came from. You traced it all the way back to that 6-year-old trying to manage a parent's emotional state. And then your partner walks in the door upset about something at work, and before a single conscious thought was formed, your entire system is already mobilized, already scanning, already looking for what you need to do to make this okay. So that's not a thinking problem, right? It's not a thinking problem. That is a nervous system problem. And it doesn't get solved by thinking harder about it. The source of empath exhaustion is not a lack of self-awareness. Most empaths I've worked with are extraordinarily aware, self-aware. The source is a nervous system that is trained into a constant state of readiness and is never given permission, tools, or enough safety to actually come down from that state until the nervous system learns that it is safe to stop performing. The exhaustion is going to continue, regardless of how much you understand yourself. This is why nervous system work, not just talk therapy, not just intellectual understanding, has to be part of the shift. Right? Your body needs to learn the new story. Your body needs to, not just your mind. And the 4th reason, honestly, this might be the one that shifts the most for you. Reason number 4, because you've been healing towards becoming okay. But empaths were never built just to be okay, right? You were built to lead. And most healing frameworks, most therapy models, most self-help paradigms have the same implicit destination. The goal is to reach a place of okayness, stability, functionality, to heal the wound until it no longer controls you. And yeah, that is a great goal. That is a worthy goal. I am not dismissing it because it goes in a system like We have to get there before we realize. You have to go through all of these before you realize, okay, this isn't working. But those healing modalities definitely played a part in getting to that point of awareness that you need a new approach, a different approach, right? A more unique one. Empaths, I genuinely believe that those modalities is too small. When I look at what empaths carry, the depth of their sensitivity, the way that they can feel into things that others can't even access, can't even wrap their minds around, the capacity to hold space for human pain at a level that is genuinely rare. I do not see people who need to be fixed. I see people who were forged intensely, deliberately for something. The world right now, and I think most of us can feel this, is in the middle of something enormous. Old systems are coming down, new ones are being built, and the kind of emotional intelligence, the kind of deep perception, and the kind of capacity to hold complexity and contradiction without collapsing, that is not a burden the world is placing on empaths. All right? That is a calling. And it requires people who have moved beyond survival. So when your healing goal is simply to feel better, to be less exhausted, to stop overgiving, to finally have some peace, you are aiming at relief. When your healing goal is sovereignty, when you understand what you went through was a training ground for a much bigger role, you are aiming at a life. The exhaustion doesn't end when you finally heal enough. The exhaustion ends when you step into what the healing was preparing you for. So, 4 reasons your healing was never yours. You've turned healing into a new survival strategy. You're working on the story while the nervous system runs the old program. And you've been aiming at okay when you were built for something much larger than that. None of this means the work you've done was wasted. It wasn't. Every layer of awareness you've built, every pattern you've named, every time you chose yourself, even just a little bit, that matters. That is real. But if you've been doing the work for a long time and you're still exhausted, maybe the exhaustion isn't a sign that you need to work harder. Maybe it's a sign that you're ready for a different kind of work entirely. That is exactly the work that I do in my one-to-one mentorship, in my group programs, and coming up to the workshop From Emotional Survival to Sovereign Empath, is for people who are that have already done a lot of healing and is ready to stop healing as a destination and start moving into something real. Right? We work with the origins of the survival patterns, the nervous system, and the identity shift that takes you from surviving your sensitivity to leading with it. I'll be posting that link very soon, in the next day. So thank you so much for joining me today and for joining me on this journey. I really, really am so grateful for everybody's comments and everybody's support and encouragement. It means so much to me. And I love you all, and I will see you on the next video.